This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Jill, and today's episode is a very special one because we are talking about sleep across very different ages, and of course, showing that it's never too early and never too late to improve sleep, which benefits us all as a family, as parents, as children, all the above. So I'm joined by two incredible sleep consultants, Meg and Liz. I can't believe this is our sixth episode. They're going to be guiding our conversation today and bring both the infant and preschool perspective to life. And I'm excited because we have a special guest today too. So let's start off with Meg. Just briefly introduce yourself and a little bit about the lens that you bring to the conversation. Thank you.
Sure, great. Thanks, Jill. I'm Meg, a certified pediatric sleep consultant and postpartum doula with Bump to Babe Doula and Sleep Services. I work primarily with newborns and infants all the way up to preschoolers, helping families build strong sleep foundations while honoring feeding, development, and attachment.
And next up.
And I'm Liz, and I'm also a certified sleep consultant and parent coach with Good Friends Sleep Services. I work with 0 to 6-year-olds with sleep, as well as I'm a parent coach, 0 to 18-year-olds. And that includes building and navigating big emotions, boundary testing, and bedtime power struggles.
Wow. All right, we have a lot going on. Excited that you're both here. And really, we're going to dive in a little bit. And let me ask, I know we have two moms joining us today, right? Who both completed a 2-week sleep coaching program, one with a 5-month-old baby boy, Allie, and the other one, a 4.5-year-old daughter, Lauren. Thank you guys so much for being here. How are we today?
Good.
Yeah, good. Thank you.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you for having us.
Great. We're going to start off by hearing a little bit about where each of you were really before you started this thing called sleep coaching. So could you just introduce yourselves and your child and kind of describe a little bit about what sleep looked like before they worked together? Allie, want to take it first?
Sure. Yeah. So my son is Tommy, and when we started, he was about 5 months old. And we were all exhausted, and we were waking up about 2 or 3 times a night, trying to just feed 2 of those times, which is still horrible. But anyway, that's where we were. So we were waking up, feeding, going right back to sleep, but just in sort of a cycle that we couldn't get out of. And knowing that he's a big boy and that he really didn't need to eat overnight, but he really wanted to. And we were just in a cycle that I was exhausting, and we were ready to get more sleep and have a new routine.
Thank you for sharing. And Lauren.
Hi, I'm Lauren. My daughter is like 4.5, almost 4.5. Her name is Blakely. We were in a cycle where bedtime, putting to bed, we were like held hostage, is what I always told Megan, in her room for anywhere from like an hour and a half to usually like 2 hours, somewhere in that mark. And just hit our rock bottom. It was only me. Daddy couldn't go in, whether it was nap time, sleep time or the middle of the night. And until she was dead asleep, we were just held in there. And one night I just had a moment where I was, losing it constantly. And I came out and I was like, I don't care how much it costs. This is what we're doing. We are getting a sleep specialist, and it has been amazing ever since.
Aw. Meg, you want to follow up there?
Yeah. So, Allie, I know that Tommy was born a little bit early. How did adjusted age factor into your sleep expectations or concerns at that time?
I think we knew that because he was born 3 weeks early, we knew that he was technically considered younger than he really was. So we thought, oh, he's 5 months, we're good to go on the sleep training, when he's he
Yeah.
was just over 4 months for sleep training purposes. But truly, we were still ready to go and attack it. And we just knew there might be a little bit of a more gentler approach or some more sleep shaping over instead of sleep training. But we were still ready to do it and see what we could accomplish.
And
Great.
Lauren, I have a question for you. With an older child, sleep struggles can feel really emotional, and sometimes the kids are really emotional with that. What was bedtime like in your home before training?
Um, we would always go into it in a really good mood. She would be tired. She would be showing all the signs of being tired. And then once story time was over, it was every excuse under the sun, wanting to get out of bed, wanting me to rub her back, lay in bed with her. I do like this little nighttime routine with her every night. She would want me to do that 15 times over. And I would be getting more and more stressed because, the mental mom load of everything that I had to get done was not being done because I was stuck in her room. And it would be bartering and, bribing and everything under the sun to try to get her to go to bed for that time that I was stuck in there. And the minute she would fall asleep, I was done. And I would go downstairs and do the same. So it was just stress from the minute lights went out until she woke up early in the morning the next day.
Ah, wow. Well, what we hear so often is that, sleep struggles don't just affect the nights, they really affect everything. So we're going to talk about that next and really the impact on family and parent well-being. So let's, if you don't mind, moms, walk us through a typical night before sleep coaching. Let's start with Allie, please.
Okay, so a typical night before was I would put Tommy down. Um, Anywhere between 7 and 8. He would go down on his own, so I was always so hopeful, like, oh, will he stay asleep? But we would put him down, and then you sort of, that mom anxiety starts, like, oh, when are we going to be up
Mhm.
next? How gosh, I got to go to bed as quickly as I can so I can get sleep. All that, fun mental exhaustion. And then he normally would wake up anywhere from like 12 to 2. That was a feed, and then again anywhere from like 3 to 5. We had some nights though where it was like 12, 3, and 5.
Yeah.
And we would try to only feed two of those three, but then my husband's in there that third time for like a half an hour at least, trying to get him back to sleep without a feed. So it was exhausting. I also have so much trouble going back to sleep when I'm up in the middle of the night. So like, even if I'm only feeding Tommy for 15 minutes, I'm at least awake for another hour trying to get myself back to sleep. And then I have the anxiety of, oh my gosh, but then he's going to be up in an hour. So I'm only going to get another hour of sleep. And, you just start spiraling, and the mental exhaustion was almost worse than the physical exhaustion, of the whole process.
The struggle is real. Go
It
ahead.
really
Next,
is.
Lauren.
Um, a lot of similarities, even though they're,
Yeah.
miles, years apart in age. Like I said, it was always kind of good up until bedtime. I've always been the schedule person
Yep.
trying to keep her on, in bed at this time, asleep by this time. The asleep by this time was the issue. Um, and she most of the time would sleep through the night, but sleeping through the night meant still waking up at like between 4:45 and 5:30 in the morning after struggling to go to bed for hours at night. So lots of tantrums during the day, lots of big emotions. And I knew that one of the reasons she was struggling to go to sleep was she was so overtired at that point from losing sleep at night, losing sleep in the morning. I knew I was struggling as an adult, which meant she was struggling tenfold. And it was just helpless. It was like no matter what we did, we couldn't right the ship. It was just always a struggle. Um, and that last night that I was in her room when I was like, we're doing this, it was just everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. And I just knew that we needed to fix it.
And then Meg and Liz come in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And actually, I may jump us forward a
Sure, sure. Go ahead. Go
little
ahead.
bit. So, when you guys decided to start sleep coaching, did you have any hesitations before starting the 2-week program?
Hmm.
Um, I can speak to that. I think my hesitations were my ability to execute the plan. I didn't have any, like, I knew I had faith, especially once I spoke to you, Meg, that like this would work and it would go well. And I trusted you and your, professional advice. But I know we spoke about it like if she cries, I'm done. Like I've never been the cry it out person. So I always knew, the sleep training would come with some tears and she surprised me with how well she did, but I knew it would come with some tears and it was me worrying that I wouldn't be able to execute it the way it needed to be executed to be successful. That was my only reservation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think with my first child, she was a very just naturally a good sleeper, and we did have to do a few little tweaks years ago with naps, and I think I just kept reminding myself how life-changing that was. And I was really really pretty much gung-ho and ready to go on sleep training because I was just so exhausted. I was just trying to wait till I felt like, okay, he's old enough or this is the normal age to do
Yeah.
it and not, do it too early. That was unfair to him.
So going into day one, what emotions were you guys feeling?
I would say I was feeling nerves, anxiety, and just I think I get this sort of feeling like, oh, I feel so bad as a mom, but I'm like also at the same time I'm helping both of us, like you sort of feel guilty when they do have some
Oh yeah.
tears because it's hard to not have any tears, even though he's
Mm-hmm.
fussing. I wouldn't even have called it full on crying most of the time. You just sort of get that guilt, but I think the second you get a taste of improvement, it's like an addicting, like, okay, let's get more, let's get better, let's get better, let's keep doing this because it's just such a relief when you do feel the first bit of success.
Yeah, I think day of it would, be anxious and stuff like that as well. But I think because of her age, we had a family meeting where like we brought her in and we told her what was going to happen and how it was going to happen. And I made it sound almost like a game where it was the chair method is what we used. And
Mm.
she became very excited about it. And once I saw her excitement around it, we were like, you're such a big girl and we know you can do this. And giving her that confidence made it fun for her. And it was so successful that first night that, like, by the end of it, I
Wow.
was like, oh my gosh, I remember coming downstairs, like, maybe 20 minutes after our nighttime routine started and being like, Randy, who's my husband, I was like, this is gonna work. Like this is happening. Like she hasn't fallen asleep that fast in over a year. So um it was great.
Awesome. So, let's talk about the tweak process. What surprised you guys most during the 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And, what changes did you notice first? Bedtime, naps, overnights?
We sort of start, well, I shouldn't say sort of. Started implementing it on a nap day, and I would have said like the naps were maybe it was pretty painful, but it was doable. And I didn't really have any hopes for that night because it was
Yeah.
so new and all that. And the first night, Tommy slept till 4 a.m., which for us was like, holy cow, what's going on? That kind of thing. So I think for how quickly he reacted and responded so well was shocking to us. And then it just kept improving, which was so exciting.
Yeah, I mean,
Wonderful.
I would mimic that. It was so fast. I think we also had a little help in our corner where she was a little sick when we started it. So I think that kind of helped her body like adjust because she needed that sleep and she was so tired. But the I noticed within like 2 days of implementing this that she hadn't had a tantrum once. And along with this, it was also like hard stop on screen time, like even 5 minutes on the phone, just hard stop. And which was something else that I wanted to get back to because I had always been really good with that. And noticing, being able to say to people, like, I've been telling you, the tantrums and stuff are directly related to her lack of sleep. And to see that, like, within 2 to 3 days, we hadn't had any tantrums or pushback. And also just to see her excitement around it. I remember one night I was sitting next to her bed doing like the bedtime routine with her. And she's like, "No, mommy, you can't sit here." And I was like, "Why can't I sit here?" I said, "I'm doing our routine." She goes, "No, mommy, you have to be in the chair." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So like she was 100% on board with it. And I think because every morning we would celebrate how amazing she did. And it was, we got
Wow.
family involved and it was great.
So that's when you actually felt like it's working, right?
Hmm.
And what about for you?
For me, um, what do you mean for me?
Well, Allie, Lauren, both of you guys want to touch on that. I know you were mentioning obviously when she wanted you to sit in the chair, and what else did you really know this was actually working? What else happened?
I think just she
Okay.
was staying in her room in the morning. Like even
Hmm.
though she would wake up, she was staying in her room in the morning, which meant that my husband and I could sleep, which was something we hadn't done in forever. Um, and just feeling myself not be as tired and as stressed and kind of that mental load, that mental stress go down was when it was like, this is something we needed months ago.
Got it. And what about for little Tommy?
I would
Can you see?
say, honestly, after night one, I mean, I have fed Tommy every night, obviously since he was born, for until he was 5 months, and even that first night, when he woke up at 4 in the morning, we followed the steps and never reached the feeding step. So considering, for 5 months, I fed him at least twice a night. Since night one, I have not fed him, knock on wood, once overnight. So, I think it was pretty quick. We knew we were having success, just because that night one, it was so shocking not to feed him because that was just such a routine of ours. But it was so nice to break that pretty quickly. And
Yeah.
then, each night it was less and less, and pretty quickly, like he was barely waking up. So it was, within 3 nights, we were feeling quite successful.
All right, Meg.
Yeah. So, how is sleep different now compared to before? It's been a couple of weeks since you guys both went through the 2-week program. What does sleep look like now? Have things regressed, or are you guys still on a trajectory of success?
Um, no, things are still successful. There's been, one or two nights where there's a little bit of pushback, but we just go back to the steps that we've had and stand firm. And she knows at this point that like we're not playing this game. You're not getting away with anything. Um, so still successful and
Hmm.
the stress that I would feel leading in to like that hour before bedtime is just gone. Like that anxiety that builds, knowing that bedtime is around the corner is gone. Um, and just having time again to like go downstairs and sit with my husband or fold clothes or whatever it is great.
Allie,
Yeah,
what
I
about
would
you?
say, I mean, it's just so different. Like the anxiety isn't there. Even if he does wake up, we've had like random, like, if he goes to bed at 7:15, a random little fuss at 8:30. And I have a little anxiety, but you just have so much more faith because they have the tools to support themselves. And we still have the methods to use to support him. And so I just think it's just, it's just so much better. I mean, the anxiety and the stress around it is just so much less. And even for naps, like if he sleeps for one cycle and he wakes up, I don't have that instant rush, which is a big deal for me of anxiety. Because I'm like, okay, we're gonna set the 8-minute timer and we're gonna let him work through it. And honestly, I think even since we ended sleep training, he's gotten better about resettling himself. Like that has taken a little bit longer, a few extra weeks and stuff, but he has done such a good job at resettling himself. Or even if he's not fully asleep, he's just talking to himself or he's content. Like I feel like his relationship with the crib has improved so much even since
Hmm.
sleep training ended. And I think he's just so much more comfortable in the crib, and it's just so much better for both of us.
What would you say to a parent listening right now who is exhausted but hesitant to start sleep training and sleep shaping.
I say make the call.
Yeah.
I mean,
Aw.
like, as I think Allie said it before, like as parents, especially mothers, we have that
Yeah.
um guilt of like I should be able to do it or I don't need the help. I'm their mother, or kind of having to ask for help is always hard when it's your child. And just make the call. Do it. Yeah, that would be my advice.
I think I would say, you've got to do what's going to make you and your family the happiest and the most
Yeah.
successful. I think, unfortunately, in this day and age that we're in, there's so many strong opinions. There's social media. Everyone has like a strong opinion about doing it or not
Oh,
doing
yeah.
sleep training. And I think, everyone assumes it's like cry it out and all that kind of stuff. I think you've got to like think about your family and what's going to make you
Yep.
the happiest and enjoy the time. And that's partially why I really wanted to go for it, is because I knew the lack of sleep and the lack of schedule was sort of having me wish away the time, because I'm like so tired, just want to go to bed, want the day to be over. And I think, you've got to really do what's best for your family, which for us is 100% was the sleep training. And
With
I would
what
say that to so many families that
and
I
with
bet it
what you
is sleep
girls know
training.
now, would you start any sooner if you could? What would you tell someone out there?
Start as soon as you can,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know some people are like, oh, it's a baby. Let's, I don't, he doesn't need a schedule, that kind of thing. Like, to each their own, but you can still, I feel like, sort of have that loose schedule with sleep training. I think that's what's so great about Meg is like, they
Mm-hmm.
want to work with you and they
Yeah.
want to work with your family. It's not like a black and white situation where this is what you must do. And I think that's why the tweaking is great. Like, okay, this might not work for your family. Let's try something different. And like, I think sometimes behind sleep training, people think it's like one option and one option only. And that's just really not the case.
No, I would agree. I think having the questionnaire that you
Yeah.
have to answer at the beginning where it really gives that overview of like who your child is, that alone shows that it's not just like a fit in, one model that works for everybody. And I know Meg really took it into account that Blakely is a very affectionate child, and she added like some games into it to make it easier and more fun for her. And she still asks to play, the nighttime kissy game where I come back in. So still to this night,
Yeah.
I will go back in, like I close the door, I walk back in, I give her a kiss, and then she's asleep. I don't prolong it, but she loves that. That's like what she feeds off of. So knowing that there were other options aside from just like cry it out, which is what you always hear with sleep training, was really helpful.
All right. Well,
That's
do we have
great.
time for some rapid fire? What do you think, ladies?
Yeah,
Um,
let's do that.
all right, let's go. Allie, I'm going to start with you. One word to describe bedtime now.
Enjoyable.
Good one. Okay, Lauren, favorite part of your evening routine?
Being able, like with her,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
okay, our like good night routine that I have, I say this whole thing with her.
What do you
That's my
say? You can
favorite
What's
say
the
part.
whole thing? What's the
It's
thing?
Go
it's
for it. Go for
long. I
it.
don't even think you have time for it. It's a long
Oh,
one. It's
you.
something that my dad did with me when I was little, and I've added to it. Um,
Oh,
it starts off just like sleep tight, pleasant dreams, don't let the bed bugs bite, put in pie, love of my life, best girl in the whole world. And then it keeps going. And then we do this affirmation, and then I kiss her, and I still do. I love you. You're safe. It's time to go to bed. And then I leave.
oh,
And that's it. It's like
That's
10 minutes in and out.
I love
so
it.
cute.
All right, Allie, biggest sleep myth you no longer believe.
Sorry, say that again.
The biggest sleep myth that you no longer believe.
Ooh, that you have to feed a 5-month-old overnight.
Okay, good one. All right, coffee consumption before versus after. Both of you. That's good. Good.
Still a big coffee person, but I used to have like 3 to 4 cups a day, and now I have like 1 to 2 cups a day. sometimes even like not even a full cup.
Wow.
I would say same amount as I had before, but need it way less. Like I can wait on it way more, and I don't rely on it to get through the day.
All
That's
right.
awesome.
I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing so honestly today and being here to experience this together and really to hear about the benefits of our friends today. This is great because these highlights really to people out there that sleep support does not it's not one size fits all, but obviously it can happen at any possible age, whether you're an infant, toddler, even adults, we can use it. So if you're listening and thinking, and this sounds like your family, you can learn more to book a free consultation. Meg, Liz, you want to tell us how we can reach out to you?
Yeah. So you can reach out to me, Megan, at bumptobabedoula.com.
And I can be reached out. This is Liz at Good Friend Sleep Services. Liz at goodfriendsleepservices.com.
All right. And thank you guys so much for joining us today and wishing you guys all a very happy holiday and enjoy the rest of the week, the new year, all it brings. And I'm not sure, Liz, Megan, are we back again next week?
Nope, this is our last session.
Oh my gosh, wonderful way to end it to have these amazing ladies and parents here. Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye, Jill.
All,
You.
Bye.
all right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you again for being here. Bye bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.